Hello and welcome to another edition of Monday Motivation with Bukola. It's a show about inspiration, women empowerment, beauty, business, health, money, entertainment, and advocacy. And of course, I'm your fabulous host today. And I do have a special guest for you on the show today. Wow, oh my goodness, she's so good. She is a legal practitioner and she is Melanie Bragg. She came on the Authors Live show on my Facebook page this past Saturday, and oh Lord, the broadcast was lit. The audience was engaged and we learned a lot from her, which I know for sure that you are also going to learn today. In fact, today's quote is from her too. So we learned a lot when it comes to book publishing and the process, what is expected of an author in order for you to become a successful author. So let's go and listen to Melanie. But before then, you know how we roll on the show. The quote of the day. And of course, the quote of the day is from her. So it says, writers must learn to listen to others, but also follow their own guts. Wow. Writers must learn to listen to others, but also follow their own guts. Meaning, if you are a writer and you are working with a coach or a mentor, you also need to listen to your guts. While you are listening to your coach or you are listening to your teacher about what you should do to make the process easy or to churn out a very good book, you also take the time to listen to your heart. What is your heart telling you to do? Is there a word, a statement, a phrase, or a scene, or a character that your coach is saying, no, remove this, remove that, and you feel it should be there? It's like going to the doctors to go take a second opinion and also listen to your heart in order to become a successful author. So thank you so much. You heard the quote that was right from the show and it came from our guest. So today you'll be listening to Melanie. She has a lot. Oh my goodness. She even shared her contribution in an anthology with the audience. And I will have that in the description here on YouTube. And for those of you watching at home on TV, please head over to my YouTube page and subscribe. Head over to my Facebook page and like the page so that you can be a part of the live conversation and you can take your answers live on the show. Thank you so much, and let's go and listen to Melanie. Thank you for coming in. Those who join me live, thank you for joining me live. And those who join the replay, thank you so much for joining the replay and watching. Oh, my author is here. Melanie Bragg is the author we have today. Wow. She has a lot of value that she's bringing to the show today. Hello, Melanie. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for coming in. Welcome to another Lipstick, Lip Balm and Literacy virtual book reading series here on Facebook. And we have a special guest for you today. She is Melanie Bragg. She is a legal practitioner. She practices in Houston, Texas. She's a mediator and she wears many hats. She's the chairman of the ABBA Solo Small Firm and General Practice Division. She has about 40 authors under her care that she mentors and coaches on how to be an author, and especially entrepreneur. You know, it's more than just writing a book, according to her, because I read her contribution to a book. It's an anthology called The Real. You know, I kind of like that, REAL. And she talks about being an author beyond just writing a book. And she noted that writing your book is just a small portion of becoming a successful author. She's going to be sharing more value today. And also she's a speaker. She's a member of the National Speakers Association. So she has a lot of accolades, and she is an expert at what she does. So I'm going to be inviting Melanie to talk to us today and enlighten us. For those of you who are prospective authors, you can be inspired and learn how to do your book. Not only learn how to do your book, but also to be a successful author. And for those of you who are already authors, you can learn how to be a better author and how to be successful with your books.
How are you doing today? I'm so excited that we're here.
Thank you so much, Melanie, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it, and I'm so happy that Dr. Atika Taina connected us, because she was here not too long ago on the show, and she suggested that you come on the show, and I think Nida. So Nida is coming in a few weeks or so. So thank you so much for saying yes and coming, and I realized that, wow, you are a big fish in the pond. So thank you so much. And as we wrote, and I want to use this opportunity to thank those of you who are watching us live and those who will be watching the replay. Get your pens and your notepads and be ready to take some notes. Honestly, what you sent to me the other day to read from your contribution was like, whoa. Whoa. So there is a lot to learn. If you are an author, there is a lot to learn to become a successful author. But first of all, as we roll on the show, we have to dance. And I'm glad that you're already giving me the dancing gig. So
I've got the news. Mine are like 70s, you know, the 70s are now. So
nice. I love that. You are love. God, you are love.
I don't move as fast as I used to, but I'm still moving. That's the point. Keep moving.
Nice. Thanks so much. Oh God, you are love. Nobody greater. Nobody greater. Nobody greater. Nobody better than you. All right.
Don't get me started. I cannot stop.
We're going to use the music to end too, so don't worry. It's still coming.
Okay. I got a few more moves. I've saved a few more moves.
Thank you so much. And you know, I gave you a little brief about Melanie, and because you are a legal practitioner, first of all, you know, when I saw the other day you wrote me and said you had mediation scheduled, I remembered my mediation class, because I took a mediation class. Was it last semester? Yes, I think it was my last semester or second to the last semester at the university. Yeah, second to the last fall. I took a mediation class, and I'm supposed to go to the Supreme Court so that they can put my name on the register. But you know, taking the mediation class, I'm like, oh, the lawyers who do mediation, you people are really patient. I don't know if I can be patient and not be partial.
And I have no patience. I have zero patience. So it's really good for me to, you know, you walk in, you go, wait a minute, I can't believe somebody sued you. Oh my gosh. And then you go listen to the other side and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that, you know. So it's like you have to get people to come together because everybody sees it from their own perspective. So basically, yeah, it's really a challenge to get them to think about things in a new way.
Yeah,
that's what you want to do.
I think my first question for you will be because I really like that, and I like when I see legal stuff. I'm attracted to it because of my own job too as an advocate. So, how are you able to mediate without being partial?
How am I what?
How are you able to mediate without being partial?
Well, I mean, basically, your goal, your overriding goal is to help people and to help them. So basically, my job is I'm like the devil's advocate. Their lawyer is their cheerleader. So I'm not there to be their cheerleader, but I'm also there to just be the agent of reality, the voice of reason. I point out the weaknesses in their case. And then when I go in the other room, I point out the weaknesses in their case, and I get people to look at things from a new perspective. I also use my many years of experience about how juries feel. Juries are very strange. I mean, they can make their opinion in just 1 second. If they don't like you, it doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong. So there's just a whole lot of different things, different skills that you can use in mediation. So the more work you do on yourself, the better you are at helping other people, I think.
Wow, I like that. The more work you do on yourself, the better you are at helping people. So, what led you into the legal firm, or studying law? And was it something inborn or something you decided to go into much
Well,
later?
first, before I start that, I just want to say that I appreciate what you're doing here. This is a wonderful, wonderful forum. Combining the lipstick and literacy is just right up my alley. So thank you for doing this. And I'm really excited about your background, the stuff you do with human trafficking. And, you're an amazing woman yourself. So I'm honored to be here today, number one.
Oh,
Number
thank
two,
you.
Dr. Artika Tyner. Yeah, Dr. Artika Tyner is just someone. I met her when she was very young. She wasn't even 30 years old yet. And she is just turning out to be the most amazing young woman, and being able to follow her and mentor her and help her in any little way I can is such an honor to me. So I'm just so proud of her. And she's she's paving so many trails and doing so many wonderful things for so many people that I'm just honored that she thought enough of me to suggest me to you today. So thank you so much for that. So do you want to talk about law, or do you want to talk about books? Because I think books are probably more interesting than law.
Yes, we do talk about the book. It's just that I also bring out like some other background information or some things that people we need to know, like this person's expertise and all of that. That's why it's like everything kind of mix up, so it's more interesting.
Well, all I can say about starting the law, my father used to tell me all the time, Melanie, anybody with brains like you would be a fool to waste them. Get your law degree, get your medical degree, and then you can do whatever you want to do. I wanted to be an art history major, or I wanted to be, a philosophy, a social worker. Well, the cool thing is I've gotten to be a glorified social worker with my law career, because I've gotten to do all kinds of wonderful things. I've gotten to enjoy art by traveling around the world, you see. So all of my goals have been met through the practice of law, and I still think it's the world's greatest profession, and I still love it. So, it's just a wonderful profession for women, especially.
Oh, nice. So your Facebook Crosstown Park, what led you to do that book, or what inspired you to do the book?
It's the actual real story. I was on my way home from a legal seminar in New Orleans, and it was an applied acting techniques course. It was actors teaching lawyers how to connect with audiences, how to, get to know audiences, get to know juries better, how to make that human connection. And I was on my way home from there, and I saw this man on the side of the road that I wanted to pick up. I just wanted to pick up a hitchhiker. He just looked so cool. So I just kept running into him. Every time I pull off to get gas or something, he'd be back on the road. I created this whole story about this young lawyer on her way home from something, picking up, and it turns out to be a teacher who wanted to help homeless children. And it kind of morphed into the story. But the very first day when I got home from that New Orleans trip, I sat and I wrote and I wrote. And then guess what? I read it and it wasn't very good. So I realized that I needed, before I could tell a story, I had to learn how to write a story. And that's called craft. And when I ask writers or people who want to write, I say, so what are you doing for the craft? And then they don't know what craft is. And they kind of like, well, I made an A in English in high school. Well, making an A in English in high school isn't enough, And my writing teacher used to say to me all the time, she was so wonderful. She'd look at me, she'd say, how long did it take you to be a lawyer? And I'd say, well, 4 years of college and 3 years of law school. She said, well, did you really think that you were going to get to be a writer, just right off the bat? And I'm sort of like, yeah, I did think that. And she said, no, writing is the most demeaned profession. Everybody thinks they can do it. There's really a craft. So I spent 4 years with her every Friday learning the craft. And now I actually teach what she taught me. She's deceased now for many years, but I still carry on her legacy through teaching what she taught me to others. So there's the craft, and you can't avoid the craft. I mean, you don't just, John Grisham learned the craft. James Patterson learned the craft. All authors learn the craft. I mean, every now and then somebody squeaks by with just this natural talent, but it's really craft.
Wow, thanks so much. And I pray that your teacher soul continue to rest in peace, and sorry for the loss. But I will say that it's not 100% loss, because the knowledge she passed into you, you are passing it into others. So it's like she's still living and she's living on. So my question will be, how do people learn the craft for writers? What would you recommend?
Wonderful thing about it is there's so much out there right now online for free. Okay, there's many books. Stephen King has a great book called On Writing. You can listen to it on Audible if you want to. And there's just a whole bunch of great Dwight Swain's Techniques of a Best-Selling Author. There's all kinds of writers groups. In Houston, we have the Houston Writers Guild. There's all kinds of writing conferences to go to. I started out I read the Chicken Soup for the Writer's Soul and found out about the Maui Writers Conference. I went there for several years, and before, it's no longer in existence, but there's Thriller Fest in the summer. There's all kinds of writers groups, mystery writers associations, Romance Writers of America. My writing teacher, the late great Rita Gallagher, she was the grand dame of novel structure. She co-founded RWA with her daughter many years ago. And so the Rita Award, which is the outstanding romance award of the year, was named after her and her daughter. So that's another big legacy she has. She started RWA. So there's many resources out there, and you just have to join the groups, get in a critique group, and do the work. They've got a lot of wishbone, but they don't have a lot of backbone. Okay, so and writing is not an easy thing, but if it's in your heart to do, you will do it. And it's the journey of the writing itself. Whenever I'm writing and creating, it's so much fun. It almost feels like I'm on a roller coaster, and it's just exhilarating. It's just this natural high that you can't get anyplace else. So it has to be the journey of it rather than the fantasy of becoming a famous author and selling millions of books and being rich. That can't be your goal. It needs to be the process of the writing that's the fun part for you.
Wow.
Everything else is gravy.
I like what you just said about the process, and just being part of the process and enjoying the process of writing. You had said in your contribution to the anthology that writing is just a little piece of becoming a successful author. Can you give us some tips on how to become a successful author?
Yeah, in my contribution to this book here, my girlfriend Sharon Jenkins, I want to give her a shout out. She's an invaluable resource, and you probably want to have her on the show too.
Yes,
She's just
please.
amazing. Yeah, she's the master communicator, and she's wonderful. And she and I support each other in everything. But the main thing with writers is, everybody has this idea and this fantasy about what it's going to be like. And so reality sometimes sets in. You can't avoid the pain and the work and the knowledge of it. But basically, my first principle for writers is writers must learn to listen to others, but also follow their own gut. An example I have with my writing teacher, whenever we would sit there on Fridays and we'd go through something, and she was always, every word is $1 to the editor. She wanted to eliminate needless words, kind of like Strunk and White, that Elements of Style book. Eliminate needless words. But sometimes I had a word that I wanted in there. And whenever I would want that word, she'd say, no, just take it out. And I would actually just say, no, I really want that there. Inevitably, in my critique group, that would be the one thing that my class would say, oh, we love that. So that taught me the lesson that while I do follow my writing teacher and I do agree with what she's taught me, I still follow my own gut to know what's my truth. So yes, you do learn from others, but you always rely on yourself for what you actually use.
I remember reading that in the book, and that was so good to listen to yourself and follow your guts when you are writing and working with a teacher or a coach to help you with what you are writing. Please, if you have questions, kindly post your questions in the comments. I'm going to be checking on my computer for questions. If anybody has questions, please post your questions in the comments. Yes.
I'm seeing lots of my friends here. Hi, everybody. They probably heard me say all this. They're probably on for a couple minutes and then they leave, but that's okay. Love you guys.
Yes. So, I really like that, following your guts when you are doing your work, because it's you, and you are the one that kind of have the imagination in your head. Then you also talked about each word is $1 to the editor. When I read that, it took me to journalism, because and I was in the print medium where there is little space to put whatever you have to say.
Right. So you're
So
trained to do that.
they cut everything off. They cut everything off. So why would you say then that quality quality should be what authors should strive for, rather than quantity in terms of the volume of the book?
Well, let me give you just a perfect example of what my teacher was talking about and what I know and what I see when people ask me to review their books. And if it's not really up to snuff, I can't do that, because I just you have to do the work. So like, for instance, just say you're a doctor and you're writing a book, and everything in your book has to lead to your storyline. And you're like, oh, well, I know, I want to explain about a blood transfusion. Since I know so much about blood transfusions, let me just do a little bit on blood transfusions because I'm so smart and it'll show all my knowledge. Well, guess what? If the blood transfusion is not part of the story, if it's not leading you down the through line to the climax, to the resolution, to the end of the book, it can't be there. And see, writers, when they write stuff, they don't want to get rid of their words, because your words are your precious little babies. You can't just get rid of them. So that's where the editing process is so painful. Trust me, it's not easy to be edited, and no one likes it. So you just have to ask yourself, yeah, editing is hard because it's like cutting off your arm. It's like, wait a second, I spent 3 days writing that great little bit that has nothing to do with the book, So there's all kinds of areas where you can just be so smart, but unless it takes you to the through line. So that's one thing that my writing teacher really grained in my head, that you maintain that electrical connection. You're holding on to your reader. You've got to hold on to them from the very beginning. And if you let go, then you may not ever get them back. Have you ever like stopped reading a book after a few pages? You're just like, sorry, I'm just not there, you know? So you want to create a character that people want to take the ride with. I'll give you an example. There was a book that I started reading, and the lady, this is kind of an older book, it was a long time ago, but she dug in her purse to get a quarter to make a phone call, and she found a quarter that was just covered in dirty chocolate or whatever. And then she went home and she opened her door and she smelled rotten milk. She had some kind of sour milk from the cat or something. Well, I couldn't stay in her skin because I don't like dirty quarters at the bottom of purses, and I don't like sour milk. You know what I mean? I just didn't want to
Yeah.
take a ride with that character. That wasn't somebody I wanted to hang with, you know? So that's why, but there's lots of people who like that. You know, they're intrigued by that, and so they would probably love the book. But so you want to create, you know, a character, and usually we do create characters that are like ourselves or have some kind of relationship to ourselves, at least in our first books. And that's another thing too. When you try to tackle for your very first project, when you try to tackle this big, you know, big deal and try to go into all kinds of points of views and do different things, you know, your first book needs to be a little bit more simple and a little bit more linear so that you can get through it, get it published, and then move on to other things. There's plenty of time to do those complex books, but you know, you can't do what James Patterson might be doing in his books, in your books yet, because you're not him. So you kind of do need to follow. There's a structure for it. And writers don't want to hear this. They want to be the very first person to do something that's all new, that no one's ever done or whatever. But there is something to be said for learning structure. There are patterns to stories, and there are arcs and patterns that are timeless. And when you learn those and you follow those, then you can branch out. But first you've got to learn the basics.
Wow. I like the simplicity to make your first book to be very simple, and then you grow from there. Um, what do you think about authors who churn out several books in a year? For example, I think I read someone's blog and the person made reference to an author who published 30 books in a year.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, more power to them. I mean, maybe they don't sleep. Maybe they don't have a job. I mean, a lot of us regular people, we have to do it along the lines of our life. And so it just depends on how much time you have, and also the quality. I mean, you know, what your real goal is. My writing teacher used to say to me, Melanie, you're going to have like 3 under the bed books. And I'm like, what's an under the bed book? Under the bed book? I don't really want to do an under the bed book. I wanted my story to be out there. I didn't want it to be an under the bed book. I've talked to authors who've written 7 or 8 books before they've gotten published. And, you know, they have had a lot of under the bed books. So, you know, I think the shortcut to really being good is to really learn your craft and take the time for craft. And that's just something that people don't want to do. They want to just get there quick. They want to take the fast road, and then they get frustrated, they get burned out, and they quit. So it's a long road. It's a marathon. It's not a jog.
Wow. Thanks so much. And then because I know that also in that contribution you shared about marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, you got to wear a lot of hats.
yes. So what are the tips you would like to share with authors in terms of marketing their books?
Well, you know, the thing is you need to have what I teach. One of the workshops that I teach in writing programs is about getting a foundation, and then developing a marketing plan. So you've got a framework, and then your build out. So that's 3 different processes: the foundation, the framework, and the build out. The build out is when your book is published. Like I was talking about, I did 21 events in 90 days. There's all different kinds of events. You know, I'm on my way to my very first book deal. And I'm like, wait a second, maybe I should have researched what to do on a book signing. You know, I mean, I didn't even know what to do on my very, you know, there's a lot of different formats for book signings. There's a lot of different things. So I kind of learned in that 90-day period when I did 21 different events, there's just book signings. There's events where you do a talk. There's events where you just talk. There's all kinds of different events. But when you have a vision for what you want and what your goal is, and sometimes your vision has to be adapted. I've written about that lately too, because, you know, I started, when you get your first royalty and you see how hard it is to sell books, for some reason everybody wants you to give them a book. Have you noticed that? They're just like, hey,
Oh,
give me a
yeah.
copy. And I'm
And
sort of like, why don't you buy a copy? They're not that expensive. I mean, $15 is not going to break the bank, you know. So I
yes.
think authors, one really important tip that I can give you guys is, a lot of times we expect, this is so important to us, that we expect everyone to know. Like when people would give me their books, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know to go give a review. They didn't really educate me. They just gave me their book and then, you know, probably thought I was going to do a review or something. So really, it's up to the author to educate people how you can be helped. You know, you say, okay, I'd like to give you this book, but you can buy it on Amazon for $1.99. You know, you've got a real autographed copy here, but you can buy it for $1.99. Then you can be a verified purchaser, and I really appreciate a review, 2 or 3 lines. I mean, you have to tell them exactly how to do it, even maybe send them the link to do it so that it makes it easy for them. You want to make it really easy for people to help you. And you also want to explain what you need, how it's very hard. I mean, everybody's self-publishing, but just because they're self-publishing doesn't mean those books are good. I mean, it's really hard to sell 100 books. I mean, everybody thinks that their book is going to be the next big bestseller. But it's, you know, it's still an accomplishment for what they've done. There's nothing wrong. You know, if you write a book and it's your heart and soul and you get it published, self-published, it doesn't really matter if that's your completion of your goal. But if you want to get to where, if you want to do the long run, if you want to do the long haul, then you do take all the steps. You do get the right vision, the right framework, and the right build out so that you can be a successful author. And you also learn other ways to market your book. See, I give my books to the insurance adjusters that I mediate with. And you can imagine how they feel at the end of a successful mediation to get this wonderful courtroom drama that they finish really quickly. And then all of a sudden, I got a whole bunch of new cases. Well, I'm not, maybe not selling books from that, but you know, when I walk into a courtroom and the judge says, "Oh, Miss Bragg, I just finished your book. I love it so much," and the whole courtroom hears it, you know, wow, that's great publicity. So, you know, it's a long haul. It's a marathon. So, you know, overnight successes usually burn out, you know, just like a quick little flame. Just don't try to be an overnight success. Just get in on the long haul and just say you've got time.
Wow, I really like that. Don't try to be an overnight success. And you are right about, you know, it's not easy to sell 100 books.
Everybody wants you to give it to them. It's like, hello, this cost me thousands of dollars. Are you really? You can't spend $15? But you have to educate. It's just, it's not anything personal. I mean, they just don't know. So all you have to do is just help them and educate them and teach them how to help you, because people do want to help you. They do want to go the extra mile. They just don't know how to do it. Most people don't really know authors. They're kind of honored to meet somebody who's taken that step to learn and do it correctly.
Wow, I like that. So now, would you then say that when we are giving a free book to somebody, we should encourage them to go to Amazon to buy it for $1.99 and just give a review for the book, because it's true verified purchase review really is strong for the book. It gives it really authentic review because the purchase is verified.
Right. Yeah. Amazon doesn't want to do reviews that aren't verified, unfortunately. I mean, you could try it, but a lot of times they won't post them.
No, they won't. Yes, because there are some people that couldn't do review on my book, for example, because they didn't buy it from Amazon. So I had to make it. I made it, I think, 99 cents at some 1 week. I did a sale and said 99 cents so they could download and write the review for me. So that is a tip there. Keep trying to get reviews. And you know, the Amazon one, the Kindle, because that's the one they can buy for 99 cents, the Kindle
Mm-hmm.
version. So would you recommend doing the 99-cent Kindle version at different times of the year or month to keep the review going? Or when an author has an event, to also make that 99-cent available on Amazon, so that during that event, people can go and download and be able to write the review?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that all of those marketing tips are great things. You've got Author Central, you've got um, your website. You've got a lot of different resources now. There's a lot of different resources to get things out, and that's really good. You know, something that you just made me think of that I wrote about in this chapter is, you know, authors sometimes are thinking of themselves and what they can get. And I really think authors need to think about what they can give to others too. You know, authors helping each other, authors sharing their books with each other. I've got, after we finish this interview today, I'm going to be doing a review of another friend of mine. Her name is Manning Wolf. She's a legal writer in Austin, and she's in Texas. She does the same thing I do. We're not in competition, okay? I want her to be super successful. And if I help her be successful, you know, that makes me successful. So writers sometimes tend to get in their little bitty bubbles and they want to just take care of themselves and they want everybody to do for them. I feel like the more you do for others, the more you can teach others, the more you can help others, the more you can share your resources with others, the more successful you'll be. I believe there's plenty to go around for all of us. So just be a generous author. I mean, I've had authors just, you know, I've done book signings with other authors who weren't even interested in my book at all, didn't even ask me a thing about my book, didn't want me to even give them a free book, just said, no, don't want your, you know, and this went on down the road. And when they did that, I kind of thought to myself, well, you're probably not going to be very successful, you know? And so it's okay, no big deal. But I feel like the more you give and the more you share and the more more generosity of spirit you have, the more successful you're going to be. And there's all kinds of little intangibles. It's not a direct thing. It's just the joy of actually being an author. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's so, it doesn't matter how much, everybody always says, how many books have you sold? How much money have you made? And I just look at them like, well, number one, I wouldn't tell you even if I knew, you know, because it's none of your business.
Yes.
But that's not, that it shows you where they're coming from, you know, and you just have to, you know, handle it however you do. I usually just like go, I don't know, I have no idea. And I switch the subject. I redirect it to something more interesting to me, you know.
Wow. You know, I really like that. In fact, the lipstick, lip balm, and literacy we are on right now came about from me trying to do a book for my book. I was trying to do a promotion for my book, and I had helped other people to write their books. And I invited two of them on the show. I said, you know what? And I did paid advertisements while I was promoting that book reading here on Facebook. And some people signed up. And in fact, the two of them, I gave them the list. I shared the mailing list with them, which people will not give you their mailing list, especially list they paid for through advertisements. They will not share with you except you pay them money. And these were people, other authors. I said, you know what, come, I'm advertising this and I'm going to share the list I get from the advertisement with you. And then I will also bring you on to talk about your books. We had technical glitches. Honestly, it was crazy. It
But
was
you're doing it. The main thing is you're doing it and you're helping others. So that's going to guarantee your success. Plus, I can tell from the smile on your face right now that you're enjoying what you're doing. And if you can't tell that I'm enjoying sharing what little bit I know and hoping to learn from everybody else too, that it's just a joy to be able to do this and to share and communicate.
Oh, thanks. And you know, the name lipstick came about because one of them was wearing a lipstick, and somebody commented, "What lipstick are you wearing?"
It's all about lipstick for me. Trust me. I mean, I lipstick thing. I love lipstick. Yeah.
So we did a debrief afterwards, and right there, one of them just said, why don't we even do lipstick and literacy? I'm like, wow, that is good. Okay, every Saturday we'll be doing this, and I will call it lipstick and literacy.
Oh,
And
that's good.
this is one way I can bring more authors on, and I can inspire those who want to do their books. And that was how we started first with lipstick and literacy. Then we thought about the guys. And
Yeah.
then, okay, let's modify it to lipstick, lip balm, and literacy. Because we know that guys will wear lip balm, but not necessarily lipstick. And that was how we continued. And I started looking for different authors. And sometimes somebody will recommend someone to me, like how Dr. Atika did with you. So it's true. And if you're those of you who are watching and those who will be watching the replay, be giving. Unfortunately, sometimes some of the things I see is that some people will not give you until they want to take from you. It's when they want to take from you again, they will come as if they want to give. Just give. The more you give to us, the more you will get. You will get from, and sometimes too, the people we give to might not necessarily give back to us directly, but trust me, you will always get back from where you least expect from. You will always get back. And now already here, you already suggested an author to be featured. And please, all your authors you work with, I would like to feature them all on this show. And I'm already thinking of inviting even celebrities who have written books to come on this show. So I'm going to be taking the time out to be reaching out to as many people as possible to be featured here so that we all can be empowered. We can learn more. I really like how you drilled in, because today you were like the teacher. Seriously. You were like the teacher drilling in. You were like, I could see you like the professor saying, oh no, this one out, this one yes, this one yes. And that is really good. When you talk about editing, my last memoir, I had 3 editors work on it. 2 people edited and 1 person did a copy editing. Oh my goodness. Even the editors, I was like fighting with them. Oh, I don't want this to go, no. And then the copy editor came and it was like, oh, when I wrote, I said I felt like I was run over by the train.
I know. Well, looks like we've got a question. About taking writing courses, going to workshops, etc. Yeah, we talked about that a little earlier, that learning the craft is so important. You need to join your local writer group. You need to get in a critique group. It's sometimes people don't feel like they're ready. You're ready. Hurry up and do it. Just hurry, just get in and do it. Join your local groups. There's a bunch of chapters of romance writers. You don't have to write romance to join RWA, because you get the benefit. Even if you're writing a detective or science fiction or fantasy or young adult, Romance Writers of America will teach you the craft. Their mystery writers associations. I mean, you probably have, in whatever town you're living in, 15 groups that you could join. So look at your groups. Go to writers conferences. We have Texas conferences, national conferences. There's just a wealth of information out there. I suggest really just joining a critique group and just getting in there and doing it, because it's amazing. You think you're such a great writer, and then you write it, and then you look at it and you kind of go, maybe not. So, it's a process, but you definitely need to learn the craft. So I just wanted to answer that question real quick for him.
Oh, yes, thanks, because I'm glad you saw it. I'm looking here. I can't see the questions. I don't know why I'm not able to see people's questions.
Yeah, so I just want to catch it, even though we did cover it earlier, but it can't be said too many times, and so I have fallen into all of the traps that I'm suggesting you not do. I mean, and so if you want to do it quicker, faster, stronger, you listen to people who've done it, and already experienced it, or you can just learn it for yourself. And I did listen to my writing teacher. Like I say, I'm very, very grateful that I had her and that I followed her advice. And you want to maintain that electrical connection with your reader. And even if you write nonfiction, there is craft to that, and you want to make it interesting. So storytelling of all sorts, learning about archetypes, learning about story structure. If you notice, when you go to movies and taking screenplay classes, I've taken a lot of screenplay classes too. It's a totally different medium. And so is being a playwright. It's a totally different medium. But you go to a movie, about 7 to 8 minutes in, you're going to get that, that story is going to be set up. Well, just like in your book, in your novel, first 3 chapters, the chapter 3 is the turnaround chapter. A lot of times you have the reluctant hero. There's a problem and they don't really want to get involved. And then they're thinking about, should I do it? Should I not do it? And then they move forward. So at the end of chapter 3, you're actually propelling your way down the through line to the story. There's the objective story, which is like in my book, Crosstown Park. That's the trial. Jose is on trial. The goal is to get him off the trial and save the foster home. But then there's the subjective story. It's Alex's own arc, her own personal arc. You see, she has never really failed at anything. She's been very successful. Things have been easy. So it's not until you take a challenge that you can't face in life. Really, when you fail at your area of greatest confidence, then and only then do you see yourself for who you really are and dig down and change. So a lot of times our challenges, our greatest challenges, as we know, are our best experiences if we learn from them and move forward out of them, and we're more victorious after that. So that's kind of Alex's arc in the first book. Now in the sequel that I'm working on, she's going to have to go down, at the beginning of her changing in her spiritual enlightenment, she's going to have to go down into the basement, get covered in some ashes and learn a few things. So I'm going to take my readers through some pretty deep stuff, and I know when it ends, they're not going to be real happy with me. So book 3 does have to get out real fast after that. I can't wait 3 or 4 years. And she says, what you're saying about turnaround chapter reminds me of Joseph Campbell's. Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you for bringing that up about Joseph Campbell. Of course, as you can probably tell from some of my language, I have studied Joseph Campbell in great, great depth. If for those of you who don't know who he is, he was a teacher at Sarah Lawrence University, and a bunch of his lectures are actually on tape that you could probably, if you just Google Joseph Campbell, he wrote a really wonderful book called The Power of Myth. He was the inspiration for George Lucas in Star Wars, the whole archetypes, the Star Wars trilogy. That one reason it's so successful is that it really is the baseline story, archetype story. Okay. And so those timeless themes are still there. And we as humans do love those timeless themes. So the archetypes, the hero's journey, the goddess journey, that's all very interesting stuff. And you want to incorporate that, I think, in your successful writing in order to be a really, really compelling writer.
Wow, this is really deep lectures on becoming a good writer, and I'm learning a lot from it. Oh, thank you so much, Yvette. Yvette is here. Thank you, Yvette. So I'm learning a lot from this drill down you are doing right now, because for authors, it's important to know how to be successful author beyond just the immediate accolades or immediate glory. And I like how you said, don't be burnt out like the quick one, and it's a flame and it's gone. You want to be the one that is lasting. And we had a professor said something similar a few weeks ago about timeless writers, those writings that lives on even after the writer is gone. We're still reading those kinds of books because they have so much value in them. And you are drilling down to that for us today on how to become those kind of authors that people will want to pick up and read and read and read again. Oh, thank you so much. I want to make a public service announcement. First of all, I would like to thank Honorable Flor Molina. So my outfit today, she provided my outfit today. Yes, it's a jumpsuit. It's a jeans jumpsuit, and my necklace is also provided by Candy Baker. So thank you so much.
You cracked me up. You totally cracked me up. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, I love what you're doing.
So now let's get to the lipstick. I'm wearing two. I usually wear at least two lipsticks. So I'm wearing two today. And this one is 835 Sapphire Siren Bold Audacious by Maybelline. And then the second one is L'Oreal Infallible Paint. It says, yeah, Infallible Paint, L'Oreal Paris. So that's what I'm wearing today. So what are you wearing?
Okay, well, normally I love CoverGirl. CoverGirl stays forever. Plus, you can buy it at Walgreens and get one tube and a second tube for half off. So you get two tubes for $12. It stays forever. It's moist. But today I have on the MAC. I just got this at the airport the other day, and I just love anything that's hot pink, you know. And MAC lasts so much. It's nice and creamy. And let me see if I can see. It's called Pink Pigeon. That's my lipstick. And Pigeon. And then I've got the MAC cream gloss.
Okay.
And you know, having nice lips is very, very important. You know, there's no doubt about it. I've had people say to me, I've had clients when I walked out of court. I've gone into court at 9 a.m. and walked out at 11:30. And I had a lady one time. She said to me, she said, "Wait a minute. You did not leave the courtroom for the last 2.5 hours. You did not touch your purse. I've been watching you. What lipstick do you have on that stays that good for 2.5 hours?" You know? And I was like, wow, you're so observant. This is great. And it was the cover, you know, but the proper application and proper, you know, everything really does good. The same principles we talked about for writing do apply to lipstick too, ladies.
Wow. So please tell us, what do we do? Because my lipstick don't stay on for a long time. I think some of them could stay on, but I'm always clumsy.
Well, yeah, just having a proper base. You know, you just want to have that good base. So you might want to put a little bit of foundation underneath to hold it on. And then you've got your lip liner. So.
Wow. Thank you so much. So do you have any last word for our audience today?
Yeah, just basically learn the craft, follow your heart, you know, just do, you know, if you know that you know that you know that this is right for you, don't give up. Don't listen to, I mean, let me tell you something. Sometimes the people that you love the most, it's really, I mean, I'm telling you, it's a very enlightening experience when you finally get your book published and you have book signings and you think that everyone's going to be like there, and sometimes they're not. And then people show up out of the woodwork that you haven't seen for 20 years that you didn't even invite them, and they show up. So, you know, I mean, there's just a whole lot of different experiences that you go through as a writer, your expectations of others, your expectations of yourself, and, you know, just what you think it's going to be and then what it ends up being. But it's still the most amazing journey on earth. I mean, we're all wanting to communicate our story, our truth to other people. So don't give up. And don't listen to anybody that's negative. Don't, you know, just go in your little closet and do it at 12 p.m. and 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. if you have to. Do it at 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. You know, just do it and you'll reap the benefits, even if it's in your own heart. See, for me, every time somebody calls me or writes me and tells me how much my book meant to them, I'm in a state of shock because I can't believe it. But that is the reward for me. Okay. That's all. And you know, if you reach 100 people, then that people might tell one or two, and it spreads out over time. You know, I would say if you're young and you're watching this, get started early, because there's a lot to do. And it's not, you know, you do have to be a marketer. You can't just be a writer. These people that say, oh, well, I want to be a writer, but I don't want to, I'm not a marketer. Well, too bad, so sad. No one else is going to do it for you. You have to do it for you. So you do need to learn to be a public speaker. You do need to know how to, when people say, I say, well, tell me about your book. And they say, oh, it's very complicated. Oh my, you know, I don't really know where to start. You know, you're like, no. You need to know what your story is. You need to say it in a succinct one-liner. And if you don't know your story, if you can't explain your story, how the heck can anybody else understand it? So, I mean, there's a lot of little traps that us new writers fall into, and I fell into those too. But you just have to get that elevator speech down, you know, hook up with a good coach, good publisher. One thing I do as a lawyer is I do consults with authors, and I charge. I can't spend, you know, you wouldn't believe how many people, oh, I just want to buy you lunch, or I want to have a cup of coffee with you and share your insights. And I'm sort of like, wait a second. I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and many hours learning my craft. I can't just give it to you all for free. I'm sorry, you know. I mean, I'm doing this show, but on a legal consult, I had a gal come to me the other day, and she was going to pay this publisher like $15,000 to help her with her book, and the contract was terrible. Anyway, I helped her with that and redirected her to a better publisher, and the money that she paid me was well worth it for her. So now she's on her way. So I do coach authors, I do help authors, but from a legal standpoint, they pay me the consult fee. So it's really good to go ahead and invest in yourself. That money is well spent for getting the right teacher, the right coach. There are some unscrupulous publishers out there, people that promise you the world. And then if you don't know, just be careful. I would say talk to an expert before you jump into anything where you're spending several $1,000s for something. Just do your research, because there's horror stories, and I'm sure you've heard them. There's horror stories of people that have a whole garage full of books that they can't get rid of, that are, you know, growing old in their because they don't know. Just learn. There's a lot to learn, and just take it step by step. Remember what I said. Foundation, your vision is your foundation, your framework, and then your build out.
Wow, thanks so much. I'm so grateful, and I know there's so much more that we could learn from you, even from public speaking perspective too, as an author, because I know you used to belong to the National Speakers Association.
I still am. Yeah, I'm a professional.
So, you know, maybe just one more thing. Would you say that authors right now, they need to go join Speakers Association to continue to build, you know, their platform and credibility?
Well, I think that at least if they're scared of public speaking, they don't like to do it, then they, you know, anything that you're finding yourself, I can't do this, I can't do that. Well, you know, go ahead. I will post the link to this chapter for your viewers if you want me to, the one that I published with the 7 tips for.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, or you've got it. You can go ahead and post it if you'd like.
Okay, thanks, because I wasn't sure. I was going to ask. Okay, thanks. I appreciate it. That was really good information that you can learn and take tips from, whether you are published author or you are thinking of publishing your book. Learn these lessons to help you become a successful author. Thank you so much.
Enjoy the ride. I mean, that's what the fun part is. I mean, it's a blast. And whenever I teach, whenever I do writing conferences, and I see the people out there on the other side, they're just looking at me, and I look at them and I go, guess what? I am on the other side now. And I sat where you sat for many, many years. And I still sit there. Trust me, I've got a lot to learn. It's not over. You don't ever arrive. That's what's so exciting about it. But I do understand it is fun to be on the other side. And it's also fun to still be a learner. The best teachers are the ones who love to learn. So keep learning. I'll tell you another little tip too. Scrivener is a great program. And I finally decided to teach it before I learned it so I could master it. So I did some courses on Scrivener and I learned it so I could teach it. But it is a really, really good program to use. And it's only $45.
Wow.
And yeah, it's only $45, and you can put it on all your different computers, your laptop, your desktop, your office computer. I think you get up to 5 places, and you can, I'm looking at these comments. Thank you. Yeah, it's great. It's hard. It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. It's challenging. It's a nightmare. It's a joy. It's all of that stuff. But Scrivener is a really good program to get. Dramatica Pro is another really good story forming program that I love. I won't do anything without doing it through Dramatica Pro too, because thematic ranges. Like, in other words, if you're going to be talking about something like CPS or medical or religion or anything that's a complicated subject, you don't want to be too over. You want to make sure that your thematic ranges on your dial, for here, that your dials are set kind of in the middle so that your reader can interpret what they want to interpret from it, that it's not heavy handed. Whenever you read something so you want to just, if you have a point to get across, just make sure that you've got your dials on your thematic ranges set so that you're not turning people off.
Wow. Oh my goodness. There is lot to learn. So
I know. We could take a whole weekend to talk about this stuff. Thank you so much for having me on the program.
I'm honored. Thank you so much. And I have Melanie's links in the description of this video. So please check out the links and go and sign up. And then
of course, anybody, I would sure appreciate some little reviews. I need to get 100 reviews so that whenever the sequel comes out, it's going to be all one blood. There's going to be the O there. I love the O. And when people ask me what the O means, the O is kind of like life, okay? The unity of life. Sometimes when we're going round and around, it's all smooth and wonderful. And then every now and then it's a little jagged and we're like hanging on to the edge like a whirling dervish, just trying to hang on. So that's what, but it's still a circle. We're still all together as one.
Oh, thanks so much. And those who will be watching on YouTube, this is going to also be on YouTube and it will be in the description. And those of you, so I need to now acknowledge, those of you who are watching us at home on TV, at North Metro TV, thank you so much. You also can check out the links I will share on the screen, because I will be sharing Melanie's information on the screen, and you can also connect with her. Thank you so much.
Go ahead and share this chapter. And Sharon Jenkins is the one that I recommended that you bring on. She won't mind me sharing it because she's like me. We want to share as much as we can and help as many people as we can.
Oh, thanks. So please, I will be connecting with her to bring her on the show. So as we roll out, how we rolled in, we're going to roll out with the music.
All right, I'm ready. I got my mood.
And I want to thank everybody here. I see Aneta. Aneta, thank you so much for coming in. Pastor Peter, thank you. Yvette, those are the people I see. I don't know who else came in. So thank you so much for coming in. So we're rolling out with the music.
Enjoy it.
Thank you. I think this is yeah, thank you.
Going to the stars. Going to the stars. We're going to write our hearts out. Right. We can type it on brains.
Thanks
so much.
Wow. That was so good. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did too. I can't wait to have Melanie back on the show. It was like the time went by so fast. 1 hour just gone burnt. Like seriously, it burnt like a candle. And I really want to have her back, and I'm going to be bringing her back on the show to tell us more and enlighten us more about this journey of becoming a successful author. And I hope to see you next time. Remember, subscribe to this channel, like this page, and most of all, go check out Melanie. Click the links in the description to go check out her books and get your copies, and also connect with her. She's a coach. Connect with her and go to her for more help. And I hope to see you next time on Monday Motivation with Bukola. Oh, before I go, yeah, I always have something more, don't I? You're wondering where I'm at today. I'm back at the Mississippi River here in Anoka. So I'm sitting right here on the stones by the river. So good, it's summer, so I can come and enjoy the river and share it with you. So until next time, stay fabulous. Bye bye.